Okay, welcome. Uh, like and subscribe, and I'm gonna share this out to come up with a new message. You know, hopefully it would help people understand. How to get a little bit. Get along with each other a little bit more, bond a little bit more. Learn to let go the natural things that we use today to self-ismize and separate ourselves from the ones that we care about the most and love the most. So, with enough said, I'm gonna go straight into it. We're gonna talk about loyalty, commitment, and compromise. Not compromise. Uh, yeah, compromise. Yeah, yeah. I was looking for another word, but compromise is a good word. So, one of my issues is this: going into the whole relationship thing. This is why I don't think women care about relationships. They want the feeling of it. They want the good stuff about it. They want the feel good stuff about it. The good days, the happy days, the emotional days, the boom boom bam bam days, right? And some men, in the same category, they do the same thing. The and I'm gonna focus on compromise first. And the compromise is this: there's gonna be things that you don't like about your significant other. There's gonna be things that you're not 100%, or there might be things that you might not think it's a good idea. Sometimes it depends on the situation. Something that the other person might want to do that you don't want to do, or there might be how should I say, intertwined into things that you so accustomed to do by yourself or in other situations. Compromise is a thing that in a relationship you have to talk about it. Communication is like number one. And you know what I noticed though, even though the communication is there, the compromising is not there. Because you might communicate and say what you like, what you don't like, or what you think is good or bad, but none of you are coming to a middle ground or a 60-40 or whatever type of level it is. Because there's this mentality that we have, and I think women should be more accountable for this part. Women have to understand that their biological makeup is to be weaker than the men, whether there's more educational or not. But they're weaker than the man. Because the education is not it's just not the main point of a man being a man. It's also his physical. It's also the way his brain is functionalized to think his body biologically made up to functional to carry out his days in life. The way how he utilized the things in the world and his abilities to manage these things in the world, the way he think, the way his brain works, right, to carry out his everyday life, right? Um, Women need to learn to understand that. Before women learn to understand that, the compromising part is gonna be a problem because it's more on the woman to compromise more than the man does. The man can't really he can compromise, yes, in terms of like say she wanna go on a trip or something like that, and he's saying we don't have enough money at the moment in time, but she might come up with an idea and say, well, maybe if we do maybe if I get a part-time job, or maybe if I do certain things to help with the money, so we could go on this trip. Now he might compromise and give up, her going to work or making more, going to get an extra job or putting more hours on her job, or dropping something to do something else that's gonna affect him or take something away from him, right? In terms of like it could be comfort, it could be her attention, it could be sex, whatever it is, and he might compromise this. And say, you know what? Because I love you and I care about you, and we deserve to have a trip or whatever. I could stop. I could sacrifice some late nights or some less time seeing you during the day or stuff like that. And it's gonna be tough, but it's for a short time, and the result to it is gonna be well deserved. That would be the compromise, right? On the man's side, when it's compromising, he can compromise as well, but it's easier for the woman to work around the man compromisation versus the woman working around the man compromisation, because when the man make a decision more in a real perspective. I'm not saying in like some fantasy hypothetical thing. I'm saying real men kind of focus on things that is real, that's like logical and tangible, futuristical goals and stuff like that. Stuff that can really affect the home, but they might do it in a short time, or the short little things affects the home in a long term. So we might try to avoid certain things because we know if we play along with it right now and we keep slacking or making chances or excuses, long termly, it's gonna be worse and it's gonna cost more and there's gonna be more problems. So we tend to like not compromise on certain things because we know the long term goal is gonna be more problems or more issues versus the thing that we can compromise on that's not generally important or effective in a long term perspective. So in relationship, the women should be a little bit more settled when it comes to the compromisation towards the man versus the man being compromising towards her. It's much easier for him to compromise towards her, in terms of like things that she can do or things that she might want to do, and it depends, you know what I'm saying? 'Cause you got to measure it, right? Versus the things that he can compromise on versus her. And that's one of the big, I'm gonna lie, that's a big issue I see in relationships today, the compromisation part, where we come, especially in the context of women are now living in an independent world. And when I say independent, I'm saying that they push the narrative that they're independent, meaning that they can make their own money. Not that they don't need a man or anything, but the push is that I could make my own money, so I don't need a man for money specifically. Um, that's not true. There's a sideline for that conversation, which I'm gonna have: women versus women, how women value money for men, and men value women for comfort and satisfaction. Why women value men for money, um, and to for her benefit and her survival versus men, right? But that's another conversation. Well, focusing on the point I'm making is women need to learn that their level of design is not made to, how should I say, overthrow a man's decisions in some of the decisions that he's making, because men structuralize their decision. They have to. Once a man, as a man get older, the more he become more careful, right? I'm trying to keep it simple, as much simple and direct as I can. He's had to be more careful and strategic in the way he live or the things that he's gonna do to sustain his family and his life, because like I said, we think long term. Women think short term. It's how she feel at this moment in time, right? I'm not saying women don't have long term goals, but overall, her short term goals is what affects her more than the long term goals, right? And then again, they might change their mind for the long term goals, depends on how they feel. Men tend to stick to whatever they say, and it's kind of hard to just change from this to that to this to that, because what it does is it takes time, and he wasting a lot of time and asset and efforts and his energy, all of that good stuff, right? So when it comes to compromising, I think women should be more aware of what the level of how they should compromise. How tangible, how important their compromisation are. That's why they should listen to the man and follow his direction, or like you said, have a conversation with him and make sense of the situation so they can maneuver the issue a little bit more strategically, and they could have more success out of it. All right, the compromising gonna go a lot more, but I have a couple of the subjects I want to go on. So we're gonna go into commitment. Now, commitment, it's like in a relationship. Commitment in a relationship. I think a lot of people, and this goes for both, because there's a lot of, like I said, the way how we are raised today, we're not raised in these concepts, man, woman, and children, and the commitment that man have to woman and woman have to man, and the children are gonna do what they're supposed to do based on the parent, right? So the commitment between the man and the woman is almost like the mother have more commitment towards her children versus the commitment she have with the man that gave her the children. You know what I'm saying? Versus herself. When typically the man pushes more loyal to his commitment versus the woman being loyal to her commitment. So, and loyal is another word I'm going to tackle as well. But you see how loyal came into play. Let's go. I'm going to connect all of them by the end of the whole conversation. So, in the commitment status is this: once two people come together and they make the decision that this is, the bond that we're gonna have, right? Her commitment to him is to stand by his side and support him and be there, as well as be there to raise his kids, help do the things that he, not that he can't do, but to alleviate some of the burden or the time frames of him doing other things, or basically, just making things easier. And it's a vice versa situation. It's not a one situation where she don't benefit from him as well, right? Because there's things that he got to play a part in where she don't have to worry about, or she don't have to take the time and the effort to worry or concern herself, right, to get some things done, right? Um, yeah, so the commitment is for her to be committed to her man in the naturalistic behavior what a woman's supposed to be. Now we're not focusing on just washing, cooking, and cleaning, because that's not all a woman can do. She can work. She can literally work. Like the man can work. The man just do more of the heavier tasks. She do more of the weaker tasks. Right? I don't know why we have this concept that men just supposed to provide, and the other aspects are more actually providing is not the man's main function, or the first. That's not even the first thing. Actually, the protection is the first thing, right? Then his logic and everything come off. Providing is like some. I would say providing is probably the last thing. The reason why I'm saying providing is probably the last thing is because women can, if the resources are there, they can provide for themselves, right? They can provide for themselves. A woman can garden. She can, long as she can be raised to know how to garden, right? She can be raised to, clean house or be an aid to whoever, right? She can be raised to do anything that she's capable of in terms of making a income for herself, right? Nursing, assistant for whatever the case is. Um, she could do warehouse work, whatever it is, she can aid herself. In the men's side of it, like I said, he can do the same thing, but he does job that women would never consider themselves ever doing or would do. to be honest. And even if they do it, it's gonna be a scale where they're getting it done in a in a level or a satisfying level that a man can do it. So she has to be in her, position or herself. She has to be in her what the word I'm looking for, her section basically. She have to be in her area. She have to be in her area where she's more fitted for, right? And the man have to be in his area. But we can work together. Like I said, let's use an example as work. For example, say gardening is the most easiest thing I can think of, right? If he got to, for example, he got to carry the heavier things, right? So we have big bags of potatoes or whatever he have to carry back to the shed or wherever he got to carry them, and he could carry a bigger bundle or bigger sack of whatever he can carry. She now can pick up the smaller things, right? Or bring the tools back, or you know, um, clear the ground from where he picking up the provisions from to get it ready for the next harvest. You know what I'm saying? If he's hoeing the ground, she could be planting the seeds. You see what I'm saying? So women do play a part when it comes to working. It's like a duality. Like where I can be tedious, weekend for me, not tedious, but what's weak for me is strong, is good for you, right? It's heavy. So that's how it works. So the commitment to a woman is to commit to her man in whatever he's doing, and to her to believe in it, and also to subdue herself to whatever his direction is, right? Believe in whatever his direction is, whatever his structure is. That's what she does. Now some women, I think they're just lazy. I'm not saying some men are not, but I'm focusing on the it's more like women are more focused on the lazier thing or the more weaker thing. Like for example, talking about being a housewife, right? So I'm not saying some. I'm not knocking some women who want to be housewives. Yes, she could be a housewife, but a housewife is like a lazy job to me. That's just my opinion. That's an well, you could call it an opinion, right? I'm not gonna say it as a fact. It's opinion, right? Because it's less task compared to a woman who works and still take care of her kids at the same time, right? Because a housewife, meaning that she stay home 24/7, she cook and clean, do all these different things, and let's just say she only have two kids, and the kids is like 5 years apart, right? The kid that's 5 years old, which means she don't have no. The other kid probably just born, right? In the process of the first kid, by the time he turned 3, he's in the process of learning to take care of himself, right? Help clean up behind himself, party, stuff like that. By the time he turned 5, he's ready to go to school. Now, let's say she's daycare. Let's say she did don't go to school. Let's say the daycare at home. That's some people choose to go that route. Um, that's fine, right? If she's not, let's say, okay, let's just say she educate them at home at 5. So she have a young baby. She have a 5-year old. She's now teaching this 5-year old to read, write, count. Da, 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 da. At the same time, she's dealing with a young baby. First 6 months to a year, I would say the first 6 months to a year is a little tight because baby got to. First 3 months actually, the baby got to wake up every couple of hours. Da, 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 da. After the first 6 months, he starts stretching out a little bit more. He sleep longer, but he's still enabling. It's still enabled, right? So she still have to be more, you know, pay more attention to the baby, right? But the 5-year old now have less attention. But he have as long as you raise the kids, and now that comes with discipline. This is where the father comes in, and the mother have to also follow that discipline, and that's where a commitment fall. That's where another part of the commitment fall into play, where the mother now have to be the commit. She has to commit to the understanding of how the man structures the household, meaning he's the law and order, right? So if he sets a law and order for the youngin, by the time the kid is 3 going up, you'll start teaching the kid how to be disciplined, how to be moral, how morally be responsible, respectful, all of these good things. By the time he turns 5, I'm not saying kids ain't gonna be kids, but by the time he turns 5, he already somewhat in control of his own behavior, what to do, what not to do, right? As and then that context, it makes it a little much easier for the mother because she have to teach him as well. Now, as that progress, the kids are now, let me see, 5. The kids are now 10 years old. The other one is 5 years old. Now she only have 2 kids, just 2 kids. By the time that kid, the kid that's 10 years old, which means he more likely probably gonna go to public school now, 'cause you don't have to stay home anymore. And the younger kid is now in the age of where she's now doing the homeschooling. But she probably been doing homeschooling from age 3, right? So the kid now is in the same level of where the first kid was, which means the kids are now following a structural order of disciplinary and moralism, which makes it easier for the mother to not be stressed out and move around. The kid that's 10 years old now, it's already been helping her out throughout the house from the age of 5, or let's say the age of 5 at least. And matter of fact, you could help your kid manage how they move and, clean and stuff from a young age. You don't have to wait until they turn 5. You can start at 8, 3, help them pick up their toys, whatever, whatever. By the time he turns 5, he know what to do. Structure bedtime, all of that good stuff. By the time they're 10, it's a done deal. Right? You don't have to say anything anymore. You tell go to bed, it's time for bed. Right? Now to clean up, they're gonna clean up. The 5 year old is gonna follow the 10 year old because the 10 year old is already disciplined to do what he's supposed to do. So the 5 year old now gonna have to follow that same structure of the man that he placed for the law and order, and the woman have to uphold those law and orders. That's the mental capacity of that, is the woman being committed, whether she likes it or not, whether she feels it's a burden or it's not a burden, it's too much work, da 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 da. The commitment is to be successful and completing the task because you choose to stay home, right? The man still have to go out and work for you and those 2 kids. He have to take on all the bills, everything that y'all want to do. Now he gonna manage how those things move, of course, and that's how that is. We can flip the script where the woman probably making more money, or she wants to make more money. It's the same process. It doesn't change because a woman makes more money. It doesn't change the fact that the man still make the decisions and he structuralized the house, the rules and orders. It doesn't change. She just bringing the money. Money does not determine how a man's ability to be the ruler of the house. It does not determine that because his rulership is not determined based on how much money he have. It's about the security of the world. It's about the safety or the things that he can do to sustain the world. Because men think in a concept of survival, not survival. Survive. How would you say it? Let me bring you another word. Men think of a long-term survival. Women think more of this, me want to survive. I think that's a better, I'm gonna say survive, and then you have survival, right? Survival, I guess, is a longer word for, correct me if I'm wrong, I think is a more definition for something consistent, long term. And survive is just, I survived this situation, right? Like a single present situation, right? Tomorrow is another day. Survival is more like every day. I'm survive. I want to be a survival, right? Well, that's my way of describing it, okay? Don't judge me. So women have to put herself in that commitment position where it doesn't matter how much money he's making. Like I said, even if no, that was just a sideline. That was just a sideline. Let me stay focused. So if she want to stay at home, a stay at home wife, these are the process she'll have to play. That's the commitment process, right? To be under the man guidance, structure, rules and structure, and she have to go with whatever decision he makes. I wouldn't say whatever, but with some decisions, because compromise play a part in that, right? So they're gonna have conversations, they're gonna come to a compromise, and she commit to those decisions, right? And yes, some things are uncompromisable. Something for her might be uncompromisable. They're gonna just have to work around it and figure out how they're gonna compromise the things that is uncompromisable, right? But the goal is to come to those decisions. Sometimes we're too stubborn to say, you know what, it's not that important. You know what I'm saying? Like, do I really need to buy freaking Jordans every time? Do I need to figure, like, some girls will say, like, well, it's not a compromise for me to go on my trips. Oh no, it is a compromise. Going on trips is a compromise. That's not something you have to do. You know what I mean? But anyway, so keeping that simple. I'm not gonna go too deep in it. To keep the commitment part a little simple and not to go too far off with it. That's an example of what a commitment is in a relationship. The man is gonna be there regardless, but the woman have to be able to commit to. So as a man, he have to commit to. He have to commit to working. He have to commit to no matter how hard things get. He still have to stand there and do what he got to do. Even if he's not getting sex to a degree, he still have to commit. The same for the woman. She still have to commit. And she still have, and I'm not saying that's why it's not gonna happen, but they have to commit to do things. And even if there's something, even when you're tired and you don't want to do it, you have to commit. Like, so here's another issue with the whole staying at home mom thing. Why I think it's a lazy kind of way of, it's a lazy, selfish way of doing it. And I put selfish more above the lazy part. When a woman is home, and like I said, she have two kids, 5 and 10 at this point. We could start from 5. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the situation is. As the most critical times is when the kids between 3 months to 6 months. Those are the most critical times. Now we're not talking in the kid having any disabilities or any type of sickness or anything. We're just saying a normal kid because most children are normal. Okay, so hard time the kids have as the kids get older. Even as a baby, there's points where the baby gonna do his own thing, and then you shouldn't be holding up the baby anyway. The baby has to be able to be underground in his crib or whatever, trying to get a sense of self control. Because if you don't do that, the baby's gonna grow up with the intent, with the mentality to always be in somebody's arms or around somebody, and you don't want to do that. What is the woman doing in the process of these times? How the kids most likely you when I say come to order and structure, why you have the kids running around destroying the house? The kids supposed to be in one specific location. Hold on 1 second. All right. So yeah. So the structure is that to keep things in order of the woman is to keep the order and the structure of the man that they brought forth in the household. Because of course, he didn't make the decision by himself. They compromising for them to do it together. They have to have a communication, right? Now, I was continue to what I was saying before is the point where I was saying the women and I think it's like a lazy job being a housewife is because typically if anybody was to be around a female that have like two kids, now if she have at least even three kids, if she have anything more than three kids, and let's say the kids is 5 years apart, some kids is 2 years apart, the less of the years the better it is, because that means they're all gonna grow up simultaneously, and they're gonna be less hustle for her to be, you know, busy or so concerning about the kids' well-being. And when I say well-being, I don't mean not caring about the kids, but they're gonna be going up to the point where they can take care of themselves or they can be responsible, long as they're raised respectfully. So let's say for the two kids, 5 and 10, when the kids reach 5 and 10, even before that, from 5 years old, from the first kid to the second kid, there's a lot of free time other than school time. School time could be for 5 hours a day. You don't, staying at home. You don't have to teach your kids. Well, every day is a learning day, but the class sessions could be 5 hours or 2 hours apart, or 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours in the afternoon. However they want to do it, right? Cooking and cleaning. Now she don't have to cook every day. If she's smart, right? I mean, some people they'll cook for 2 days, right? Most people cook. I would think that most people would cook for 2 days. That would be a smart thing to do. Depends on the size of the family, of course. But if it's a bigger family, let's say it's a family of five, I think the mother would need help at that point. I'm not saying women can't take care of the kids by themselves, but any woman that have more than three kids, any woman that have more than three kids, I think she should now look into a polygamous lifestyle, where because now we're gonna because I pretty much think they're gonna be more kids after that, right? And the help around the house will be beneficial for both of the women in that case. And sideline, that's a side note. That's another conversation. So back to the point. What do the women do when she have a free time? She just chilling. Cause she wake up in the morning, wake up the kids between between what 7 and 9, right? Get them a little breakfast, right? That don't take long, right? After that, she can do a class with the son, while the five with both of the kids actually, right? Cause them, like I said, they're both growing up, and he doesn't. I guess from the age of 3, the kids can, the youngest one can now do some schoolwork because he gonna want to follow the older kid. Cause kids gonna do what other kids do, right? But they also follow the mother's rules as well. For hour two, within the hour two, they could go to play. She have about from 10. Let's say lunch. The breakfast is around 8 o'clock in the morning. After that, class starts at probably like 9:30 to 10. Let's say 11, right? That's their 2 hours right there. Between 11 to I would say 3, she could give herself 2 to 3 hours, right? If she calculate her hours of time the way I think that's just an assumption. She could use that to probably prep for cooking, I guess, and then go back to class for the last hour or two, which is a total of 5 hours out of the day where she's doing the educational. She's being educational towards the kids. From that point, she can prep dinner. Now that's from Monday to Friday. Every evening after 5 or 6, well, let's say before 7, around 7, I would say 6 to 7, right? The kids after 7 o'clock, the kids should be taking a shower, getting ready for bed, which means By 6 to 7, these kids should be start cleaning up. It's your job, it's the woman's job to make sure that the kids is doing what they're supposed to do and help her. Because the one kid that's now 10 years old, he should be able to wash dishes, help put laundry away, straighten up rooms, help clean the bathrooms. Well, we're not gonna do the bathrooms on the weekends. Do all of these micro stuff. The one that's 5 years old, he gonna do the follow suit. He takes the things, he carry the job that the older kid can't carry, and the mom can do the sweeping, cleaning, da 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 da. Some people do clean my house every day. Some of them do it once a week. Some do it twice a week. It all depends on her decision at that point. But I'm saying is the job is now easier. What I'm saying is that's what I'm saying. The job is now related. The chores are now houses are more related to the children as they get older, and that's the disciplinary part for the children as well. Because they're now gonna have to learn to clean their houses. They're gonna have to learn to be able to prep their children or see how the process works. So when they get their children, they can go to the same cycle. And that's the cycle of life right there, man, woman, children, and that's the cycle of how the children replace or redo the same thing that the parents do. It's boring, but that's the way how it works. That's nature. That's the structural way. Do we have to do it that way? No. But if you don't, it doesn't work. Right? As we can see. Now, as the kids get even older, the less things the mother gonna do. By the time the oldest kid hits his teenage, like from age of 10 going up, the more things he can do or she can do, cook, clean, you know, whatever it is that the mother want them to do. And of course, the mother gonna help do some work as well. I'm not saying that all the chores is on the child, but the children now, the children that's now 10 years old can help around. The one that's 16 years old can do more work. Boom, 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 boom. They still have to do their schoolwork. Da 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 da. Less work for the mother to do. What is she doing all day? The weekends, say you wash every weekend. The kids can now be the ones washing the clothes. Now the mother, of course, she help wash clothes. They can wash the clothes together. The mother and the daughter, all of them can wash clothes together. So she have a boy and a girl. They all can wash clothes together. It doesn't matter. Now, the father, he's going to take on other jobs that probably going to relate with the son, like cutting the grass, cleaning up the garage, putting some things together, fixing things here and there, moving certain things that the mother, daughter is heavy to move. I mean, it might have a day when the father and son going to be cooking, it all depends. So it's not like all the chores are stuck on the mom. The father's gonna do chores too. The son is gonna do chores with the father as well, right? But her job is to be in the house. So that's her job because the father already work outside the house. So her job is generally in the house. Now, that's the part of what I'm saying when I say I think women are more lazy with it because after a period of time, she don't need to work anymore. She don't. The kids can just sustain themselves at this point. The only thing she needs to do is be fully ready for when the man come home. See, there's a secret that nobody want to talk about when it comes to being a housewife or why men want women to be stay-at-home wives, whether she have kids or not. There's a reason for that. No, I mean, I don't think a lot of guys probably gonna admit it, but there's a reason for that. But that's another conversation. Now let's go into the loyalty. Loyalty is loyalty comes with commitment. Commitment comes with loyalty. Compromise comes with satisfying or solving the discomforts between loyalty and commitment. Compromising is like the plaster, right, to maintain the commitment, and the commitment, how I should say, is the womb to the loyalty. That's how I view it, right? Loyalty is the cut, The loyalty is the canvas, like the body. The commitment is the cut, like, or the scar. Like, say you get say you meet loyalty and then you cut the cut loyalty. It's now become a commitment. And inside and then after the commitment is the plaster, the part that mend the cut, that mend commitment, right? That's the way how I view it. Loyalty, commitment, compromise, right? Loyalty is this: when you officially fixated yourself with the man that you choose, or because there's gonna be a bunch of men, I guess, because women do have a choice these days. So let's say the guy that she picks, or the guy that wins her heart. Let me say it like that, because I don't think women pick dudes. I don't think women should pick a dude. To be honest, I don't really think women should pick the man that they want to be with, because when women pick a man that she want to be with, the man might not even want her like that. Men should be the one picking the women, meaning that from how I view it, naturally, in the natural instinct of humanity, the natural instinct of nature, not my assumption, not my opinion either, right? It's just the nature way of how I sense things to be. The man seeks out the woman, right? Not date, seeks out the woman. He pursues the woman, right? He hunts for his woman, right? She might not like him, but it might be another guy that go through the same process, and the way how he operate, she might like. For example, let me give a better example. The guy she likes might not be the right guy for her, but there's another guy that's hunting for her. She might like him somewhat, but she's not the guy. That's not the guy she set her eyes on. She set her eyes on the guy that she likes, that the one that really like. Oh, I like that one. But his pursuit is not as strong, or it's not compatible for rightly, as a leadership, or as how should I say, nah, it's just not fit for her. But he might be a good person, but he's just not fit for her. Meaning that there's things that he does, or there's things that he might want to be, move a certain way, or whatever the case is, or he might not even be ready for a full time blown relationship. He might just be into her because she likes him. You see what I just said? He only into her because she likes him. You know what I mean? She only be into him because she likes him. Let's see what is. Um, and anyway, yeah, she only might he only might likes her because she likes him, but he's not really. Of course, men gonna look at women and find them attractive, but we might not really be into her like that. She might not be the girl that I'm fixated on. Cause sometimes when a guy, we could have like five pretty girls, and we only gonna pick one of those or two of those pretty girls because of how we feel about them, or how we view them based on what we see. And then once they start talking and communicating, then that's how we're gonna make judgment of which direction we're gonna go with either one of them. For the woman point of view, I don't think women should pick the guy. Women should go with the guy that picks them, meaning that the guy, he might not be the best guy. You just say he might not be good looking or whatever the case is, but he's perfect for her. The guy who she finds good looking is not perfect for her. And I'm not saying that there's anybody perfect. I'm saying it fits her the way she's supposed to be fit. Like the way it's worked, that long term is gonna be long term. Now, the loyalty to that is that women don't pick men that they deserve to be with. Women shouldn't be picking men. In just my opinion, personally, a woman should be pursued by the men, and then she can make a decision out of the men that is pursuing her, right? And then she can choose. Say it's two guys pursuing her, she choose one out of those two guys based on the best, representation out of those two guys, not by the way he look, but by in the way how he makes her feel, the way he talks to her, the way he treats her. You know what I'm saying? Career could be part of it, but I don't. Money should not be a focus point of a relationship. Money should not be the focus point of a relationship. The focus point of a relationship is how he treats you, how he talks to you, how he makes you feel. How you know how he articulates himself, the views he have on relationships and stuff like that, and stuff like the loyalty is when things get bad or hard. Let's say money become low. Because, like I said, I think women should work. They shouldn't have to make as much money, or if she happens to do make more money, it doesn't change the fact that he's still the man, right? She shouldn't bring him down or anything like that. But either or, it doesn't matter. Either or, the loyalty is that I'm gonna be with him no matter what, right? You should stand by your man because that's the man that picks you and that's the man that you decide to settle with. And if you have kids by that man already, now if it's early in the relationship, now I'm not supporting the women should go from man to man to man to man to man to man. But if it's early in the relationship, I would say my limit is three. I mean, some people say five, but my limit is three. Meaning, by the time you hit the third dude, he should be the third. The third dude is the last dude. That's it. The first one might be something critically unreal. Just that's not gonna happen. The second one could probably be like, okay, I made a mistake. The third one is you. It can't be the men anymore. It's you. You know what I'm saying? That means you're just not choosing good men. You keep picking the wrong dudes, or you're just doing it for the fun, right? It's crazy that you just anyway. So what I'm saying is loyalty comes with so strong bonding, like negotiation type situation. Like I'm not. If I mean, okay, we've been doing this for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. Now you got 10-year mark. Now you don't have two kids. Like I said, you have two kids. One is about to be, say your first kid was 5 years. 10 years. You got a 5-year old. You have another one underway. You know what I'm saying? There's no more excuses about how I feel and what I'm gonna do and what I'm not gonna do. I don't even if the guy have to have a weakness for another woman, and let's say it just will successfully happen. Your job is as a woman was to say my loyalty is to you because what he do with another woman is not going to affect you. It's not going to do anything to you, right? What a woman need to do is come have a communication with the dude because that's a bad behavior. Because men do what naturally made for them to do, right? His weakness towards other women or whatever the case is, attraction, da 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 da. It's gonna happen, right? Some men are strong, some men are not, right? Some men just want to do it, right? But the bottom line is, women should accept the fact that that's what men are, and just have a conversation with him. Like, listen, I understand you're a man and you have desires for other women. Da 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 da. What we gonna do about this? Because I can't stop you from being a man. You see what I'm saying? Women should not try to stop a man from being a man. Her loyalty is to him, not to the other women. And if he do bring another woman in, because men are naturally polygamous. So if he do decide to pursue another woman, she should be okay with that. A matter of fact, she should be the one pursuing the woman because though she got a bond with the female. So I kind of had strong advocate for the woman to pick the woman, or they can do it together, but majority of the times, or morally on her side, to be satisfied with the female that she could be settled herself with, or she could see herself with long term, versus him. Men kind of just like, hopefully she have a good taste and she know the kind of women he likes. Because women gonna pick something more similar to herself as friendship, so most likely the man is gonna automatically fall in line with that as well. But the loyalty is to him. But no matter what the situation, she have to trust his ability to move, to lead, to structure, to set the rules, and to trust in his long-term goals of what he's gonna do. When it comes to making money, because women, the loyalty, what women do, they put more loyalty in money than the man guy ability to be protective, structural, stuff like that. They think because a man have an idea, and yes, he might not, he's a human being. The ideas might not always work. Why don't you participate your ideas and help the situation? Why not you participate your income and help the situation? You know what I'm saying? Loyalty is not based on me, just me. Loyalty is based on somebody else loyal to you or you're loyal to them. And that's how what loyalty is. So to put a cap on that, loyalty, commitment, compromise. Loyalty is the body. If in my way of describing it, um, loyalty is like the body, the canvas. The commitment is like a wound or a cut under loyalty, right? So loyalty got a cut from commitment, right? That cut, that commitment, which AKA cut, need to be healed because loyalty now bleeding out. Loyalty is bleeding out because commitment is cut. Commitment cut loyalty. Compromise have to come and now band it up loyalty. I mean commitment, because commitment holds, the consistency. So the commitment is the communication, the compromise. I mean the compromise. I'm saying the wrong word. Compromise is the band-aid to the commitment, right? Compromise is the communication, right? To formulate a commitment, and then the commitment is the leading to loyalty for long-term life together, mother, father, and children. You cannot change that. That's nature. That is nature. That's how it works. Compromise, commitment, loyalty. People gonna add love in there, fine. But those things, love is in between. Love comes with, love is like compromise. It's a feeling. It's things that you can communicate and draws feeling from it and embed it into a commitment and formulate a loyalty. And that loyalty can be success in the long term. You can always make changes, but loyalty stays the same. It can also be broken, but once loyalty is broken, there's no coming back. There's no, and even if you, when I say come back, it doesn't mean that you don't associate with that person, but the loyalty that you had with them before is not the same. Or let me say, there's never gonna be another loyalty. It's just that person gonna just be an acquaintance. They're gonna just be somebody that you know, somebody that you associate with, but they're not gonna be in the circle of a loyalty. You know what I'm saying? So loyalty is the key. Commitment is is the commitment is the womb to it. Commitment is the contract, I would say, and then the compromise would be the communication or the sit down to the contract. Okay. Like and subscribe. Let me guys know how you feel about my points. If you guys want to hit me back on anything, just let me know. Like and subscribe, and for the next conversation. Peace out.